Gary, how are you?
Good.
Sorry, I have to lower my volume. I was listening to a little Queen here.
No problem. Have you seen the movie yet?
I did. I was able to get I think like a week or two. So I was able to see that movie, and it was actually really good. I was really surprised at it. Um, there's a couple of things I didn't really like about it. I think the historical inaccuracies were off, but overall, I thought it was really good. The sound and the music was really good, so that was good.
Nice.
Hey
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, I like
Hey.
the guy that played Freddy as an actor. I've seen other stuff he's done. It's really good.
Yeah, I think he's been in a couple of films, I think, and I think he did a really good job this time with this film. I was just kind of concerned with like some of the things that they mentioned. Like, I don't know if you guys did you guys see the movie by any chance?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. I would probably recommend seeing the documentaries beforehand, mainly because like the last 10 minutes of the movie, they added like 5 years worth of stuff in one day, and it was just kind of, yeah, it was just like he got up and he reconnected with this person that he was seeing, and then this girl that he was seeing, and then his family, and then the Live Aid concert. Is like, geez, man, you had a wallop of a day. I mean, shit, I could only get half of that done.
Nice.
How you doing, Gene? It's I think I got both of you guys on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I hope it's not too late for you guys. Are you guys on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, it's just 9 o'clock here. We're fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, last time I was with Gary, we were up a lot later than this, huh, Gary?
Oh yeah. Nobody sleeps during the weekend at the warehouse.
Well, actually, I was thinking about the Mexican, the tapas place down in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Are you guys in like the same city or?
No, Gary's in San Diego or down south. I'm in Central California.
Oh,
But
okay.
we were just down at a convention together a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Is it what I forgot what was the name of the convention? I know what you guys are talking about. There was a big one.
San Diego Historical Convention.
Yeah. Okay. That's the board game convention, I believe, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys set up like a booth while you were there, or?
Nah, just I go to that to work. I showed Mr. President one day and then just worked with designers the other day and hung out with Gary and Joel a little bit. Went to a really good restaurant, a tapas restaurant, Saturday night, where we met the coolest guy in the world who was dancing with a girl in Cuba, some pretty good Cuban dancing. He was keeping up with her all the while with a beer in his right hand. That was pretty impressive.
That takes some effort right there. You gotta have one hand on the girl, and you gotta have the other hand on the beer, and you gotta decipher which one's more of a priority.
Did well. I got to give him props.
Yeah, those are fun days. But what?
Can you tell us how this is going to go?
So what I was planning to do was so generally the way we do these interviews is I can send you guys a list of the questions I have. Matt doesn't generally, he just kind of goes off basically like the way the flow of the interview goes. He doesn't preset the questions. I generally do. I set up like maybe a dozen or so questions, which I can send to you guys. But generally what I do is once we do finish the interview, the next day I send you guys the raw footage of the interview, and then you guys can go over it, make sure that like there's nothing that's leaked or anything that you don't want to share or anything like that, and then let me know which parts that you guys want cut, and then I'll go back into the editing, filter out anything that you guys don't want public or anything like that, and then I'm going to send you guys the last official publicated thing that I'm planning to publish. You guys can review that, and then I'm gonna fully publish the thing. So I do this mainly because the developers and publishers that I generally interview, I did run into one or two situations where they mentioned something that was not supposed to come out, that I was able to go back and remove and then publish and stuff like that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Gary, what we ought to do is we ought to mention like 3 or 4 bombshell things that will just make Joel lose his mind, and then take him out later. But make sure Joel sees the
unedited
footage.
Yeah.
He'd hate us, but he'd hunt us down.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I do have. Did you guys want to see the questions beforehand? I have about about a dozen or so.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm gonna copy it and send it to you guys right now. All right.
I'm not real familiar with how Google Hangouts work. Can you have documents live inside the Hangout as well?
You can. There is a section for it, but I'll just send it through email.
All right, that's cool.
I really don't trust Google anyway. All right, there we go. And then, all right. All right, beautiful. So I send it to you. It should be there in about a few seconds. Then we should be rocking and rolling. How's the I heard some crazy stuff about the wildfires. Are you guys near them, or hopefully not?
I'm in the middle of the state, so we got wildfires pretty far north of us and then south of us. But here, the only problem is we just can't breathe. There's a lot of smoke.
Oh shit, that's definitely not good. Oh wow. Is it like literally? Is it kind of like I know during 9/11 we the whole New York City was kind of blanketed with the shit that was going on from the towers. Is it kind of like that where it's like literally going through your town and it's hard to breathe?
It's a lot better now. We had some days a couple weeks ago that it was pretty hard to breathe. Wow. My son was here for Thanksgiving, and his fiance went out running one day, came back in and had to use inhalers because she couldn't breathe.
Oh shit! Yeah, I've saw it in the news where they were talking about how the air quality is really shitty. Wow, that's I'm glad, but I've heard something in the news where they were saying they curtailed it right now, or like it's pretty much almost to the point of being extinguished, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So it'll just take a while for the air to clear up. We live in this valley that's a temperature inversion zone, and it's just really hard for anything to get out of the valley once it's here. It just takes a while. Yeah,
I always constantly hear about California in the news every few months, mainly because of these wildfires. I mean, there was a big one a few months ago, or even late last year, where they had like an iconic picture of like the whole. I mean, there was somebody driving on a major highway, and it was like the entire, terrain. I mean, we're talking about not a hill, we're talking about an entire range, like on fire. It was the most surreal thing I ever seen in my life.
Right. Yeah, I feel for those guys who are in the midst of it. It's bad.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I mean, I took firefighter course for urban firefighting, and we took a smaller course for wildland firefighting, and we deal. The way my chief was kind of explaining to me is, urban firefighting is really tough. Like it takes a lot out of you and stuff like that. But he was saying like it's nothing compared to wildland firefighting, because with urban wildfire fighting, you got like trucks, you got ladders. They're coming in, and you could just go around and drain the fire and kill it with as many firefighters. You can bring hundreds of firefighters into the scene and just kill it. And with wildland firefighting, you don't have that. You don't have access to any water. The National Guard can bring in water through Chinooks and Blackhawks, but pretty much you're on your own. And the way he was saying it is, what they do is they direct the fire to a certain area where it can burn itself out. But if the wind kind of changes direction and you're in the middle of the shit, he was telling us that you only have like minutes, 10, 20 minutes to dig a hole. And you have this special, it's basically what NASA uses, that little, Mylar, I don't know, piece of garbage thing that you place over your head. And you got to hope that the fire moves fast enough that it goes over your head. You don't run out of oxygen, because if it doesn't move fast enough, you basically suffocate and die. And I mean, when he was telling us this, I was like, in my head, I was just like, holy shit. So I can only imagine what those guys out in California are dealing with. It's shocking.
Yeah, it's no joke. It's for sure.
Yeah. So I'm hoping next year you guys have like an off season where you guys could just relax and maybe, go up to like what is it? Not Wine Valley, but it's Napa Valley. Hopefully you can go to Napa Valley, have like an off year, have a couple of glasses of wine, a couple of bottles of wine, and, call it a nice off year, kind of thing.
Yeah, a lot of that wine country burned the last couple of years.
Oh, really?
I mean, they're still, not the main part of it, but that's especially last year in the Petaluma fires. A lot of good wineries got burned up.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's not good.
So, nature's power. Hopefully we get some rain. That'll definitely help.
You guys not getting any type of rain over there?
No, we get 10 inches of rain a year here if we're lucky, and it's been less than that last couple of years. So everything's just dry.
It rained here the weekend I was at GMT, so it hasn't rained on me since spring down here. I think it's only rained one weekend since spring.
Since spring?
Yeah.
Yeah, and in California we have this cycle that goes on. We don't get rain, and so it's dry, and then we get fires, and so it burns. It burns off everything to the topsoil, and then we get rain, and we get mudslides. Because, there's nothing to hold that terrain together, basically. It just slides down the mountains.
And pretty much all your firefighters are volunteer, right? So like when they go in, they're not paid.
There's both. There's paid and unpaid.
Oh, okay. So you guys have both. That's good.
I mean, these fires, every firefighting department in the state was sending people north and south.
Okay.
Not everybody, because they got to respond to their own local fires, but they were sending whatever they could.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, if you're in charge of a whole town, you got like a ladder and a truck, and then you're sending one of them, that means it cuts your capability by half at least.
Yeah, but it was dangerous enough this year. I mean, you always have wildfires. It's part of the nature cycle, but this year really close to a lot of it. Like when Malibu is about to get overrun by fire, and the fires on the 100 yards from Pepperdine University, people take notice. They send a lot of assets.
Yeah, I know they activated the National Guard, and then they have this. They also activated the what was it called? The State Defense Force, National Guard, State Defense Force, all the fire departments. So I know they put in a lot of assets in the field, which is really good that they were able to kill it out. And hopefully, you guys have a really calm winter. And it doesn't come up again until like summer next year, right? So you're good for the next couple of months, right?
Yeah, it's usually October, late September, early October, and then early November is the bad season when it gets warm. And then I think what's going on now is just it started and it continued. But they just announced a day or two ago that they finally got it contained. At least the one up in Northern California is completely contained.
And now we should be getting quite a bit of rain. This is our rain. We're heading into our rainy season, so.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully that keeps any fires that do pop up contained pretty quickly.
And I was, I didn't realize, like, so one thing that what shocked me was, like, one of my chiefs was telling me he's a old-time firefighter, 40, 50 years in the service. And he was telling me, like, we had in Virginia over here, we had a fire that took out probably a quarter of Hampton Roads, probably numerous miles. I mean, we're a whole section of Virginia. And he says, numerous fire departments had to come out, numerous counties, state assets, National Guard even. And he was talking about how, like, deep it was, and how many engines it took. And it was just like, it was a whole elaborate training session. I was like, holy shit. And I was like, man, what was it, hot that year? He was like, no. You know what it caused it? And it was like, I mean, what could have caused it? He said, so they did an investigation. Turns out some guy went on, was, going camping, and, he lit a cigarette, he threw it, and that's it. Literally that one cigarette that he took a puff at, and he just chucked it into a dry bed field, caused, I mean, I think it was tens of millions of dollars of damage. It was shocking.
Yeah, they've had things like that in California, and they charge those guys.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know they do that over there. Yeah, I mean, I think that's. He didn't mention if they caught up with them or anything like that, but I mean, I mean, I'm not expecting them to cover $40-50 million. I mean, seriously, who has that much kind of money on hand? But I mean, there's got to be something. I know there are freaking signs, places, everywhere that says, "Hey, listen, don't do this," and it's just only being a good citizen saying, you know what, stuff out your stub, when you throw out your cigarette. But I don't think people realize certain things when they're doing it, or they're just daggone careless. Just give me one sec. I'm trying to.
Any word from Matt?
I sent him an invite. I don't know if he's. Hold on, let me.
Tell me a joke, Gary. You got to wake me up.
I don't know if I have any good ones.
Are you guys working tomorrow by any chance?
Oh yeah.
Are you guys part-time or full-time at your companies?
Full-time.
Full-time.
Oh wow, okay. So you guys both full-time at Playdek and GMT?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yes.
Did you guys get my questions by any chance?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anything that you guys don't want me to cover or anything like that?
No, it looks fine.
That's all fine.
All right, cool. Let me
I'm
send.
like Gary answer all of them because he's smarter than me. When you guys release this, is it a video or is it a podcast?
Generally what we do is I take the footage, I put it into audio, and then I edit it out, and then I render it out, and then what we do is we add a kind of like a, well, actually the website Spreaker does it. It adds like a kind of like animation kind of for it. So it goes on the Historical Gamers website. He has like the most subscribers. I think he has like 15 or 20,000 subscribers. And then it goes on his site. And then we also publish it through Spreaker, and then Apple Podcasts, Google Hangout, Spotify, and a bunch of other ones. So it kind of culminates into a pretty substantial audience. So yeah, so that's the way we kind of set it up. So I have like tons of questions, but I'm gonna try to hold off on everything else. You guys right now. There's like a bunch of questions I wanted to like just peg your minds right now, but I'm gonna try to hold off on those kind of things, so we can all get in on it. Trying to avoid any questions that I could mention. Oh, okay. I guess probably the only one question I probably wouldn't put it in is like, how long you guys been part of GMT and Playdek?
Well, for GMT, this is 28 years, almost 29.
Holy shit! Wow.
Playdek started in 2010, 2011. We became Playdek, but we started working on the properties that turned into Playdek games in 2010.
Wow. Okay. So wow, that's that's a lot of years right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've been going for a while.
I know that you guys have. I'm trying to hold off because I don't want to like. I want all this to be part of the podcast, but you guys have done some incredible work. Especially, I'm a big fan of your Twilight Struggles
Thank you.
game. I mean, you guys did some incredible work with that. I was really impressed. I think you guys released that a couple of years ago when I had like an iPad Air 2. And at that time I was thinking in my head, I'm like, well, you know, I have an iPad Air 2 is good for emails, iPhone, I'm sorry, Safari, web browsing, stuff like that. And then when I was able to download that game and actually play it on an iPad Air 2, it kind of started changing the way I kind of saw how tablets can work. And so you guys are responsible for that. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Cool. That's all Gary.
No,
I
Jason helped too.
yeah, I'm gonna hold off on a bunch of questions because I'm gonna jump into that thing. But give me 1 second. I'm gonna run, just fill up my glass here real quick, and then I guess we'll start. If Matt doesn't join us in a minute, then I'll just continue without him. Just give me about 60 seconds, guys. I'll be right back with you.
Okay.
So Gary, what we should do is you should answer all the GMT questions, and I should answer all the Playdek. We'll just see how we do.
That'll be fun.
Sorry if I yawned, guys. I got about 4 hours of sleep last night.
Oh wow, I'm sorry.
Every time you make noise, it puts you on full screen, and I get to see your nice portrait of Reagan. So you can yawn as much as you want.
Well, just so you know, it's not just Reagan. It's like, this is my Mr. President room. So it's got, you know,
There you go.
a whole bunch of presidents.
He's the big one in color, so he stands out.
There is a big one. I don't know if you can see this one, but
Oh, that's a nice one.
my favorite one is the picture of those 5 or 6 presidents. What is it?
Wow.
5 living presidents before this one.
Nice.
Well, that's right. Hold on. GW is alive. GW Junior is alive. Obama. Does that include Trump or?
No, it's both Bushes, Obama, Clinton, and Jimmy Carter.
Okay. I'm trying to remember. Is Ford with us?
No, he's passed.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm trying to remember. I know Nixon's gone, and I know Reagan's gone. I was just thinking of Ford because I think he was a one-term president. Not that, you know, I'm trying to put down, but, you know, just.
So Gary, if Reagan offends you, I can put it on somebody else, you know.
Oh, that's fine.
For me, like, it's, you know, usually the 2-term presidents stand out versus the 1-term presidents because they're, you know, a bit longer.
Right.
This is where I go when I'm working on the Mr. President game because it's thematic. Makes me think about him.
I do like TR in the background.
Yeah.
All right. So the way I was planning to do this, it was kind of like do an intro, a bit like welcome to, actually this will be episode 30 for us. So I'll be like, welcome to episode 30 of Single Mod Strategy. I'm your host, the Strategy War Gamer, Jean. And then I'll introduce you guys. So I'll be like, welcome Gary, and then welcome Gene. And then I would probably just jump into the questions. Feel free to kind of like, just, if I do ask a question, kind of like, just roll with it. And then, if you want to kind of like roll into another subject or just keep going on and elaborating on it, that's great. Usually our podcasts are generally, we aim at like 45 minutes, but generally they kind of lean over to like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. So I generally don't set a time limit. When I do editing, I just cut off like 15, 20 minutes, but
Okay.
all right. All right. Just make sure everything's good to go. I usually, one thing I learned being at Apple is that I usually set up numerous fail safes. So I have this recording through Google Hangouts. I have my QuickTime player recording as auxiliary, and I have my iPad as my fail safe. So I'm super backed up just in case. And then on top of that, when historical gamers say, I usually double back on top of that. So there's usually 4 backups. All right, so.